What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jasmin Cadavid, and I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard.
Is it cause I pull up in the air? You see all these VVs, I'm on TV watching stare.
All right, y'all, so we have the beautiful Jasmin Cadavid with us off the porch today. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You look so freaking pretty.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we get into all of your music stuff, I really want to dig into your background because like I mentioned to you earlier, your story, girl, you got a story on you. So I want to start off with where you're from. I know you're from Miami, so what part?
I'm from Miami. I'm from the crib, originally from North Miami. Over time we moved up, started going up north, went to Broward, and then now my mama in Palm Beach. I live in Boca, so it's like on the cusp of Palm Beach and Broward.
So what was the culture there like for you growing up?
I didn't really even know like racism was really existing like that until I left Miami. Because Miami is just Spanish and black people. Like in school, to have like a full-blown American or even, like an Asian, it was like rare. So it's mostly like, Haitian, Colombian, Cuban, Jamaican. It's like very diverse. It's a melting pot. People come from different countries all over in Miami.
Whenever you moved, you said, did you ever experience the racism firsthand?
Yeah, so when I went to Vegas, you just go into a casino and they start harassing you. So it's just I don't know, it's just different culture. I didn't know that it was I was like, wow, y'all really wilding out here.
Now, give us a little insight on your upbringing growing up in Miami.
Growing up at home, I think like a lot of people, that try to make a life, they come to Miami, they come from other countries. My grandma, she came from Guatemala. She brought the rest of my family from Guatemala on that side. And the first day that she came to Miami, she had $500. They robbed her. And in Guatemala, where they from, you was only allowed to go to school till like 6th grade. So she didn't finish high school, it wasn't too much education I was giving. She got her GED, went to college, and then she became a respiratory therapist, and then she brought her other kids, which was my mama and my aunt. And, my mom had me as a kid. My mom had me when she was 17. My mom was still like trying to figure it out growing up and everything. I grew up with my stepdad. My stepdad was a drummer in a band. I was with him till like 7. They divorced, they was going through a lot of things. I left, I went to my grandma's house while they was all like trying to work it out. And I found out that he wasn't my real dad. So when I found that out, I wanted to meet him. I'm like, oh, this is my real dad. Well, I want to meet him. So I met him. And then he had my 2 sisters with my mom. And then they broke up again. But about like 11, I started like getting into a lot of like trouble, because I'm by myself pretty much, because everybody around me trying to figure it out.
Wow, so did you basically have to like raise yourself?
At 14, I left my mom's house, but I was already like in and out of jail from 11. And,
really?
Yeah, getting expelled out of school, started fighting at 11. But I was a gifted student. Like, don't get it misconstrued. I was actually a gifted student. I was most valuable athlete of the year in the yearbook. I played every sport that I was allowed to play. So like some seasons, like sports, they will overlap each other. And, I'd have to pick which practice I did. So I was like really active, and I always was gifted in a lot of areas, but I just I started getting into a lot of trouble. I was hot, I had a lot of emotions, built up emotions.
Yeah. So, when you're younger, you don't really, like how you just said that everybody was trying to figure it out while they had you. Did you realize that everybody was trying to figure it out when you were younger?
Mm-mm. And I always tell people, like, kids don't know. So you can have a child in an environment full of drugs and a trap, But a child won't know because that's just what they grow into. They think it's normal.
Right.
You don't know. They might wear the same clothes often, but they don't know that you're not supposed to, because that's how you grow up. It's until you get older and you start experiencing other things and you be around other people and you see other families that you're like, wait a minute, like that wasn't right. So like growing up, no, I didn't notice that nothing wasn't right. I was just living.
And you said that you were like on your own at 14.
Oh yeah, my mama was tired of my shit. So I was already in and out of jail. I think I had just finished doing like a 5-month bid in a level program for juveniles. And when I came out, like I had this diary, and I had so much bad girl shit. I was talking about my little boyfriend. Like I was saying so much shit in there. So she had read it one day when I was asleep. So I woke to her ass throwing me out. She was tired of my shit. I just kept getting into trouble, you know, like I think like around the teenage years, you know, it's actually scientifically proven there's a chemical that changes in adolescence, you know, so once I hit them stages, I guess I started to like really experience what was really going on around me inside. So, yeah, you know, she ended up telling the judge, she's like, man, do whatever you want with her. I just can't do it no more.
Wow.
So that day when she finally read the diary and, you know, I was done with the program, she was just like, she took my shit, dropped me to my grandma's house, threw my bag on the front yard. I was like, finally.
So at 14, like, how did you feel with your mom's reaction and just knowing like you can't live with her no more?
I don't think I think too much of it because I was just going through so much already. And then imagine if I just lived 5 months in a juvenile. I was locked up in a juvenile for 5 months, and then before that I was another couple months. So it's not like I was every single day seeing her, you know, at home.
Right.
Like I'm in school, I'm in trouble, I'm on probation doing programs, you know, like I'm lost myself. So that day I do remember it, but I wasn't like stressed out or nothing.
So at 14, what were some like major life lessons that you learned really fast? And I wouldn't even say at 14, I would just say like growing up into the woman that you are now.
Well, you can't really trust. I think the first lesson I ever learned was friends, and it was my first fight. I was like 11, and you know, I had these girls that I thought they were my best friends, and then I kissed this boy. We skipped school, and I kissed this boy. He was like the finest guy. Everybody was like, oh, crazy about him, right? So we skipped, and I had kissed him, and they wrote me some lame ass little kid poem talking about I'm a hoe.
Oh, they calling you.
They ganged up on me. They didn't want to be my hoe. I was like, fuck y'all. So I ended up having to beat the bitch ass.
Lord.
And you know, then the other one, instead of her fighting me, she came over to me and was like, yeah, I just want to give you daps. You know what I'm saying? Man, bitch, shut your ass up. But I think that was like my first lesson, like, you know, with people is like you don't really know, you know, who's really you don't know whose intentions is what. Sometimes people have deeper intentions and you don't really know what they really feel for you. So you gotta be careful, you know, people you have around you.
Well, it do be draining, like having to question everybody around you. It's just like, dang, can I actually really trust you? Do you say, like, over the years, have you kind of like softened up when it comes to trusting people?
I would say I got a little harder, but it's something inside of me. I would say because of everything that I've been through and all the different places I've been, I always let interviews or wherever I'm at know, yeah, I've always been by myself, but I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for people that helped me. So
Right.
like in that journey where I'm getting in trouble and I have probation officers and therapists, social workers, these people were there for me. You know, they were there for me and they told me that I could do it and like keep going, like, no, you got it, like you got it, and just pushing me, and we're like real friends to me. So it's always gonna be something inside of me that believes the good in people because there are good people. And that's part of the reason why like I always lead with the right foot, because if I ever leave a situation, it ain't gonna ever be for something that I did, it's something
Right.
that you did, you know, and I'm always walk away with a clean conscience. I'm always gonna try to do the right thing and, you know, give my best foot forward.
Wow, that's deep.
You got to pay it forward. You know?
And you just mentioned therapy, so I do want to ask you, like, when did you know it was time for you to go to therapy?
Well, when you're in trouble, they make you go to therapy. So like when I was a teenager, I used to have to like go do a little program of therapy. But like as an adult, I took my therapy, you know, when my sisters passed. So when my sisters passed, like I needed it. You know, and I think that therapy is healthy for all people. Sometimes people don't even realize they're just living their normal life, but therapy helps. You know, you might need therapy. It's just for yourself, you know, mental clarity, and it feels good to like talk to somebody that's non-judgmental, you know, non-biased. So I had a lot of therapy last year. You know, I was doing 2 times a week because I was losing it. No cap, I was losing it.
Man. And so, speaking of your sisters, I know that you actually lost them in 2020 to domestic violence. I don't even know how to ask. I don't want to say like what happened because I feel like that's just so blunt. But if you do feel comfortable talking about it and just sharing their story of what happened with their domestic violence situation.
For sure. I will never bite my tongue to ever speak on them because my sisters were a light in any dark room, you know. So I lost both of my sisters to domestic violence. My youngest sister's ex-boyfriend, he killed both of them at my mama's house. He waited. He was in jail and they let him out because of COVID. 2 weeks after he was out, you know, he waited outside the house. He waited for everybody to leave, and then, you know, he went in there. Rebecca, it was Marcus. Marcus was Rebecca's boyfriend, so I call him my little brother. It was his first day at work, so she went to take him to his first day at work. And when she came back, he was already inside with Sophia. I was supposed to be there that morning with my newborn baby. My daughter's one. I was living in Vegas at the time. I stayed in Vegas for like a couple years, but I was always back and forth. So I would stay at my mom's house with the girls. You know, every other month I'd be there. But the day before that happened, I was in Vegas with the baby and my best friend, and something felt weird. I don't really know how to explain it to you, but like I felt like I told her that my stuff wasn't packed right. I said, I don't know, I just have anxiety. I feel like my stuff ain't packed right. Can you change the flight for tomorrow morning? So she changed the flight for me, and then I called them. They're like, here, are you on the way? I'm like, look, I'm just gonna come tomorrow. Like, I'm not ready yet. They was upset at me. And then that morning, I'm on the way to the airport, and then my mama calls me, and I just knew that she was gonna be excited. So they got me.
We could put a pause.
I picked up that phone call and I heard her voice, and like I knew something was up. So I jumped on the plane. It was crazy.
If you need a moment, we could take one.
Shake that motherfucker off right quick.
Girl, listen, a lot of people, they need to hear all of these stories. You're doing amazing.
No, for sure. That's why I was like, don't hold back, because people need to know, you know what I'm saying, that it's okay to be vulnerable.
Right.
It's okay, like, shit happens, life happens. But yeah, I will say, we did everything. Like, the system failed us. We had a restraining order on that kid. We made so many police reports, like they just did nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's just crazy. But my sisters are still with me every day. Like, they with me right now, like the entire journey. You know, but when that happened, it really gave me like this fire. Like when shit like that happens to you, because they were like my kids. You gotta think, my dad wasn't around. It was me and my mom. Always. And then, you know, when I went to my grandma's house, like, yeah, I wasn't living with my mom, but those were still my kids. So when I got to the age of 18, I'm already grown. Actually, I left my grandma's when I was 17, or 16 maybe. And so I would take my sisters, you know, for 2 weeks at a time, winter break, summers. So those were my kids, they were my sisters, but I raised them with my mom, you know, from babies and stuff. So something, that type of tragedy, dog, that shit just, it's just weird. I lost a boyfriend in 2015 and to gun violence in Miami. But you know, like with my sisters, it's just, I don't know, you wake up and you wake up to a nightmare. You don't wake up into the real world. Right, you know, yeah. You wake up and you don't want to wake up because you're in a nightmare, you know? So like, they were my number one fans. And it was a lot of music I didn't release because I was found by Wanye Morris from Boys to Men, right? So I'm like doing this pop thing and I'm thinking I'm going to be Ariana Grande, but I really wasn't being true to myself. You know, I was just kind of like letting people try to mold me. And then I was like insecure, so it was a lot of music that I never released. And my sisters would be like, Jazzy, drop that song, man, drop that shit. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I feel like this need to be changed. You know, I was insecure, but so when that shit happened, like this fire came inside of me and I was just angry. You feel every emotion, but that shit really pushed me to be like, man, I don't give a fuck what nobody say to me. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. Y'all not gonna tell me how I'm gonna release this, what I need to look like, what I'm gonna say, when I could drop it. Right. This is my shit. Like, I'm gonna do it the way I want it. And the thing that comes to my mind is that I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow. That's the truth of the matter. I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow. So why I'm gonna sit around and like wait on motherfuckers, you know? Like, the time is now, like, let's go. Like, I ain't wasting time no more. So that's kind of like what I've been on. So since that happened like a year and some change, I just been like, it's go time. I want to be in love and I want to be in a relationship, but it'll come. Like, I just want to, you know, chase the bag, chase my dreams, fulfill all their dreams, you know, because Rebecca was an artist. Sophia was an athlete. You know, like, they were popping, like, they were next up too. Like, people in Palm Beach, they knew who they was, you know? So it's also living out their dreams too.
And you're making them so freaking proud, girl. Like, you doing that. Like, you're doing it. I'm sure they are so freaking proud of you.
I know it, because I had got, I forgot what it was. I had, like, did something. Maybe I don't know what it was, but something good had happened the other day. And I was like, I know they're right there. Like, that's right. Let's go, Jazzy. Like, I could just hear them, you know? Yeah. So, like, I know that they are, you know? And I know that they helping me. I know they, like, doing it with me. Like, on the way here, I missed my flight, right? It's the cutoff time for a bag drop is 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's already passed. I'm coming close to 30 minutes. I'm like on the line for 30 minutes. Like, it's literally 30 minutes. And I was like, hey, I know I kind of, you know, probably missed the bag drop. And the lady, this never happened to me. The lady goes to the back and she's like, come on, I just signed this paper. She walked me to the front. She walked me to skip the entire TSA. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what's the chances? Like, this shit weird. Like, I don't, and two, I think because of how I look, I don't really get a lot of, like, you know, when people give me things, cops don't give me warnings. They don't give me warnings. And it's because they think like, oh, she thinks because she looks good, people just gonna give shit to her, right, you know? So yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, this lady like doing all this shit for me? But I when I sat down, I was like, man, that's my sisters, you know? Just making sure, like, you gonna get on this flight, you gonna hit that session that you needed to hit, you know, and do everything that you need to do.
And you also have a nonprofit foundation called Always Sisters, Always Friends. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, talk to us about that.
You are on point. You do your research, girl. So, I'm like shaky, cause I guess like talking about them instances, it make you feel something, you know. Right. And I'm like, but I started a nonprofit, Always Sisters, Always Friends, aimed and geared at being a safe haven and educating victims of domestic violence, people who are alone, mental health issues, I started it last month. When that happened, I was always kind of a voice and kind of like an inspiration to younger girls, because I have always been somebody who was going through things, but still made a way to like keep fighting, right? So like girls always knew that about me and would, talk to me. But when that happened, I was having strangers, people hit me up from other countries, like with their problems, domestic violence. Their sisters were going through domestic violence. And some of these people were complete strangers, and they were like, please don't say nothing, to so-and-so. And I didn't. I gave them that trust. I don't know you from a can of paint, but I do want you to know you could trust me. I don't know you, but okay, your secret's safe with me, but I'm gonna give you this advice. You need to do this, you need to do this, make sure this don't happen. So I started the nonprofit, because I gotta use my platform, dog. Like, so that it's just, I felt it was something I had to do.
And with your nonprofit organization, just with you being able to provide this type of thing for other victims who have been in domestic violence, how does it feel for you?
I feel accomplished. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like you only miss all the shots that you don't take. You feel me? So I feel like if I have an opportunity to do something, I gotta take it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, as I was reading up on you, it stated that music was really like therapy for you. So I want you to talk to us about that and talk to us about things that music has got you through.
I will say that Bryson Tiller's album, I hope he don't wait another 5 years to drop another album. But he had dropped that album like right after, the incident happened, and there's like a song on there like Next to You. The whole album like did help me get through it, and even though it wasn't talking about, death, it was more about relationships. Like the Next to You song, it felt I gotta get next to you. So I related it to my sisters. I gotta get next to you, I wanna get next to you. So that did help me get through it. Getting in the studio, I had so many friends and business associates that just reached out to me and, knew me from the past, and it was like, man, let's go. Like, just wanted to fucking see me use my talents, wanted to fucking, like just work and get my mind right, So being in the studio, I put out a song, Trials, which was about them. And I dropped a video of that. That was really hard for me. And even though it was therapy, the type of therapy, it wasn't a therapy that makes you feel good. It was more of a therapy of release, taking a little weight off your chest. So when I wrote that song, I cried so hard and I was trying not to cry. So like, when you try not to cry and your shit be like twitching?
Yeah.
So I'm like, my face is just like twitching, and I'm just trying to keep a straight face, but I couldn't. And, I realized like that's what I needed. I needed to release and like just let it go, let it go, talk about it. So yeah, music is definitely, a therapy, and it feels good. Like even last night, I recorded with Kenny from Justice League and made a crazy record. And I'd be so happy when I finish my work and make a body of work and, something that takes a piece of me and I take time and I'm in there just going at it. When you're done with it, you be so excited that you on a natural high.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like your heart, you just feel more energy. It's almost like when you come out of the gym, you finish running a 5K. I don't know if anybody runs, but when you do a long distance running, you get a runner's high, and you more energized after doing that long run than you was before. So it give you, me putting my passion and all that to work, like it helps me because it changes my focus onto something positive, and it also like, helps me release whatever anger or sadness I might feel.
Now, getting into your music, how exactly did pursuing a career in music come about for you?
My love for music was always there. So, you know, I was in chorus, I was in show choir in school, I sang at church. Like I said, my stepdad was a drummer in a band, so we used to go to his practice like twice a week. So I kind of was always around it, and I was exposed to it at a very early age. But, you know, like getting into trouble and like just trying to graduate school, you know, your family, they always gonna tell you, especially if you come from a third world country, they don't know. You know, they're like, well, no, that's not a real job, you know. So I'm like, man, I just want to graduate high school. Like, if I could just graduate, like, I'll be like, all right. And if I can make it to college, like, all right, I did what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But when I met Wanye, he heard me like carry a couple notes, hit a few octaves, and he was like, you need to take your music career seriously. And then I started vocal training with him, you know. I got introduced to different producers and stuff. So he really like, you know, gave me that push to believe in myself. Cause it's one thing if your aunt or a friend tells you that, you know what I mean? You gassing me or whatever, but you're Wanye Morris. Like, if you tell me, you know what I'm saying? If you say that I could sing, I believe you.
Like, I can sing.
Know? Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. All right. Wanye said, I don't give a damn what you got to say.
Now, working with him, what was some solid advice that he gave you just pursuing this career in the industry?
The most solidest advice he would give me was singing. So when, like, I don't think there's a dollar amount that you can put on them vocal lessons that I had with him. You know what I'm saying? Because working with a vocalist like that, like, you can just see, like, the difference of when he sing and get behind that mic. Right. The confidence is different, you know? So to me, I would say that was, like, the most valuable piece that I got from him, like, seeing, like, what it's like to work with one of the most legendary vocalists.
And just out of curiosity, who were some musical influences for you?
So I'm pretty eclectic. Like, growing up, you know, I had experience listening, like, so my mom and like my stepdad, they showed me Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, you know, older things, Nirvana.
Not Nirvana.
Yeah, like, I know all kinds of music. Like, I know Slipknot, Disturbed. And then with my auntie that was like 8 years older than me, I was thugging with her, you know. She got me on Tupac and Biggie and 3 6 Mafia. You know, my cousins was heavy in the 3 6. And then there was Alicia Keys, Mariah Carey, Bone Thugs. So these are all kind of the things that I listened to. So it was like a lot of 90s R&B. And then you had, you know, the raps. I can take it back to 8 Ball, Young Bloods. They had one Young Bloods from here.
Yeah,
they had the 85.
Yep.
So I listened to all that.
You have like the music that you was exposed to, that's literally every genre.
Yeah.
All the good ones, like in every genre. Wow.
Yeah. And I feel like it shows in my music, because like even me as an artist, I'll go to meetings that be like, we can't really put you in a category because you're a singer, but you be like talking that shit like a trap rapper, you know?
Yeah.
And then I've been, you know, fucking with the cannabis industry for a long, long time. So I was influenced by a lot of these things, but like it show in my music. I'll be super romantic, singing. I'm heavy with the harmonies. I'm really good at harmonies. So like I have all types of like pop-ish type harmonies, and then I'll have like R&B runs and vocals, and then I might have the verse that I'm rapping. So like you could see like the diversity.
Okay, real quick, I want to switch gears because you gotta take us back to the cannabis. So you actually have your own strand that you made with Corrupt?
Yeah. So I was the first girl. So do you remember when Wiz came out? And it was like when we was first starting to get recreational. So Wiz was the first one in the industry who had his strand. So then I linked up with Corrupt and Dr. Zodiac, and we created Jazzy Kush and Banana Moon Rocks. So I was like the first female in hip hop culture, you know, with a strand in the dispensaries. And that was a really cool experience. We ended up separating, and now I went into the CBD. I've got the Jazzy CBD, which is under the CBD Hemp Direct. We've won Hemp Cup twice. And we're like probably top 10 wholesale e-commerce for CBD, CBG, Delta 8, on the internet. I also brought out the first pink FDA approved rolling paper. So like right after I had linked with them, I had got an opportunity at a Cannabis Cup. They were like, go out the country. I know the manufacturers or whatnot, like we can make this happen. So I'm like, let's go. I went out the country, went to the manufacturers. I started searching all these different type of papers. And I actually, I got into papers because I started smoking weed so young. I've smoked every different type of paper. And I caught gastritis. I don't know if it was only from all these thick papers, not eating, but I was also drinking alcohol, popping pills, just getting, doing bad stuff. So it caused me to get gastritis, fucked up my stomach lining. And I stopped smoking the tobacco papers because I was just trying to like do whatever I can to get my health back together. So that was really why I had got into the papers, for health reasons. I feel that the thick tobacco papers are really bad for you and they cause more damage than the weed itself. So I went out the country, I started trying all these different papers, and then I found the 3 that I thought fit best. They are all 3, the glue on it, the sticky part is non-cancerous, the pink is FDA approved, the brown is comparable to a raw paper, and ultra thin is essentially the thinnest paper you could smoke. So the most healthiest paper is no paper at all, and the most healthy is don't smoke at all. But
wait,
yeah.
So you said it was gastritis?
Yeah.
How did you know you had that?
I was throwing up all the time. It ain't like I was, nah, it's not gas, but it's like you get a sore on your stomach lining, and some people get it for different reasons. A big factor is stress. Stress causes it, not eating for long periods of time, alcohol, smoke, and really greasy foods. Those are like the top 5 things that will cause gastritis. So when you get a sore on your stomach lining, it's all these different things that were hurting it. Your stomach lining has these juices and stuff to break everything down. And when you eat acidic stuff and things like that, it'll cause a sore. So once you get a sore, if it's at the top of your stomach lining, then you would get upper gastritis, right? And the upper gastritis is what I had, where I was just throwing up all the time. Like I would try to eat and like one bite was like leather. I'm like, it was like I'll try to swallow and it just felt like throwing up.
Instantly, how long did it take you to like really regroup from that? Well, recover from that?
Years. And what helped me get over it was weed.
Really?
So that was really why I'm such like, what's the word?
You're a cannabis activist.
I'm such a activist, but yeah, something around that nature. I'm so pro cannabis because I've experienced like what it has helped me with firsthand. And so I quit everything, and the only thing that was helping me eat and keep my food down was cannabis, weed. So that's why, I believe in it so heavy, because I've seen what it does for me. It helps people, CBD especially, like people who's not trying to actually get a psychoactive high.
Right.
CBD really does help people with pain, anxiety, depression, epilepsy, like kids, so that's why I wanted to stay in the business, because it really does help people.
Wow, what is it like being a woman in the cannabis industry?
I feel like it's cool, because it ain't too many of them out.
Yeah, do you have to deal with like politics or anything?
Huh?
Do you have to deal with any politics in the cannabis industry, or?
For sure. I think like in any business, we as women, we're really just breaking the grounds and like putting our foot down now. Like we have all these type of rights now. We haven't always had all these rights. So I think now, we still face some of the, discrepancies between male and female gender when you go into business. And, but I mean, for the most part, if you stand on business and you about business, like, it don't really matter if you got who you up against or whatever they think is gonna hold you back.
Right. Now, getting back into your artistry, what would you say were some major sacrifices that you've had to make pursuing your career?
I got a 2-year-old daughter, and I have to sacrifice, you know, her not being with me every single day. She ain't with me right now, you know, so I think that's a sacrifice that a lot of us make is, you know, family and quality time, you know, with your loved one. Another thing I sacrifice is relationships, you know, like I'm putting me and my success first, you know, like I ain't got time to be chasing nobody around right now. Like, it's like, look, you either know what you got in front of you or you don't, you know, and I ain't gonna be the woman to try to prove you who I am.
Oh, can you
know
repeat that one more time?
Like I said, I'm not gonna be the one to, you know, chase you around and try to prove to you who I am. You either know what's in front of you or you don't, you know. You don't need to like change yourself neither for nobody. This is how I'm coming, this is how I am, this is how I'm packaged. You accept me for who I am and the baggage I come with, or you don't. Find somebody else that you could deal with their baggage, because believe me, you might not like it here, but wherever you go, somebody got baggage. Everybody got baggage. You just gotta see like, who am I willing to put in that work for?
Right.
You know? So it's like some things that people could deal with. Like, you know, a lot of people might not be able to believe I'm kind of cray-cray. Yeah, that pussy good, but she cray-cray. Yeah, you know, like, and I don't mean that like literally. It's just that, I mean, from what I've told you so far, you can imagine that I have rough nights sometimes. You know, sometimes I'll be a little off, you know, I'll be a little on edge or whatever. And then I do so much by myself. So, you know, I have little mood swing or whatever. So not everybody is equipped for that.
Right.
You know, not everybody, like some people, they don't want to deal with it. And then, you know what, to somebody else, they might see that like, that's it, an attitude, man, girl, come on, you know?
Now, you're an independent artist. Mm-hmm. Wow, so what's that journey been looking like for you so far?
I would say out of all the careers and things that I've done, music is definitely one of the most challenging, because especially now, like, you know, with everybody having a platform and an opportunity to use their platform, it's oversaturated, right? So you got people who drop stuff every day. And then I feel like, you know, how I look, you know, it's a gift and a curse. Because it's like people want to know me and they get enticed by how I look, but there's another half of people that judge me before I even open my mouth off of how I look. You know, and then it'll take a conversation them to be like, damn, she's cool as fuck. Like,
right.
I totally misjudged you. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know that you could carry a conversation. I didn't know you could play Call of Duty. Like, I didn't know you were funny. You know, I'm a comedian on the weekends.
Now, what would you say brings out the best in you musically?
What brings out?
Brings out the best in you musically.
So I would say, this is probably not the answer that you were looking for, but like musically, like when I want to create my best work, I go for a long distance run, probably like a 5K. It like clears my head. And then when I'm done running, I eat. And I still have that runner's high. And I won't smoke. I won't do no alcohol. I don't do any drugs and I don't do alcohol, but I know a lot of people, like, they'll get in the studio and they like to get under the influence. So like for me to create my best piece of work, I do a long run and then I just be completely sober. And I feel like that's how I get the best out. You know, Bob Marley used to play a game of soccer every time he had a performance. He always played a game of soccer because he said it helped him perform the best.
Now, you have got to collaborate with so many different artists, but what was it like working with Flip De Niro?
So I'm so excited. You know, I'm so excited. Like, his voice is phenomenal. Like, he's got that raspy tone. Like, you just don't hear that shit. Like, he is very, very talented. But he reached out to me. I don't know why. You know, I mean, I know I'm that bitch. Like, I know I'm raw. I know I'm raw. I just, you know, sometimes like you be places and you be like, really? Like, so, you know, when he reached out to me, I'm like, oh, for sure, that's a bet. And then, you know, he sent me back the record. I'm probably gonna link with him this week coming up. You know, shoot the video to our record that we have, and you know, I'm excited to keep working with him.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, you know, we got to talk about Sniper Gang. Okay, so you are a Sniper Gang affiliate. So talk to us about how that came about for you.
So last year I was shooting my Florida video. And so like we had made some calls. We called our boy Him Nigga. We was like, hey, we want to come shoot on 1800. Okay, pull up. So we pull up, we shooting, and then he called Yak. And then, you know, when we finished, I'm with the girls, we at the restaurant. Yak calls us back. He's like, man, come back. We're going to shoot this video. Blah, blah, blah. So boom, we go back. And that was pretty much, you know, the blossoming of the relationship from there. And then we fast forward, we at Rolling Loud. He brings me out to Rolling Loud. That was like, you know, such an awesome experience. That shit was really dope. You know, I brought all the energy. Girl didn't come to play. I brought all the energy. And then we fast forward again, then we shot the Killing the Rats video. And then, you know, it's just my people, you know, like anytime, like if I can come show out and support, like I'm definitely gonna be there. You know, if any of them boys call me for anything, I'll pick up anytime. Like, you know, it's my people. Like, forever grateful. It's my dogs. I even told Yak, I was like, man, I'm Sniper Gang forever. You ain't gonna tell me nothing.
Now, has Kodak gave you any type of like solid advice when it came to navigating in the industry as well? I feel like he just so fucking cool. It just be like, what?
Yeah, you know, like sometimes when you meet people in the street, like you don't always just talk about business. You know?
Right.
We regular people.
Right.
You know, I think people forget that too. Like it's not always fucking work. Like sometimes it's like, hey, what are you doing right now? Oh, for real, I'm at my mama house. Like, you know, just regular shit. So, nah, you know, just regular people.
Now, I should have asked you this before, but I just went straight into the all of that. But how did you actually get the buzz for yourself as an artist? So remember when I first started doing music, I told you I was doing like pop and shit. Yeah.
So I had released a song called Strike a Pose, and it was very mainstream, very pop. And I was doing my runs, and I mean, the song was playing at New York Fashion Week. That song was actually pretty big. I was in OK Magazine, I was in TMZ. So I got a lot of recognition for it. Perez Hilton, you know, was checking me out, and I was like, oh, that's good. It was cool for me because like to see a different type of audience, like a different type of audience, like fucking with me, and for that song. So like that was my first really like foot in the door with the music, that people was like, oh, okay. Like I was getting videos of like people with their kids watching the video, and they're like, strike a pose. So yeah, that was like my first one. And then I would say right after, you know, my sisters, when I started going hard again, my Florida song did very well. I charted with my Florida song in like France, London, and what else did I chart on? Like I did very well, long story short. Fat Story Skinny, Florida song did pretty good. And then, you know, I dropped the album, and I think that people don't realize, like what I said before, there's so many people out and it's so saturated. You gotta be consistent. Like you gotta stay in their face, keep dropping, keep dropping, keep dropping. What I get a lot of people telling me like, oh no, because you gotta do it like this. Like we're in a time that you can only drop a single at a time.
No, you need to be consistent.
But I'd be like, you know what works for you might not work for me.
Right, yeah.
You feel me? Like this is my method and this is how I do it. And the way I do things is I'm in your neck constantly. Like I'm gonna be to the point that you just can't tell me no, because I'm always there. I'm always in your face. So I think, you know, that really like, it helped me a lot. You know, just being consistent, keep putting the shit out. You can't do nothing but respect it.
Okay, so fast forward to now, you recently dropped your project, Chasing a High. So talk to us about the inspiration behind it.
So Chasing a High, I got the title because when my sisters passed, it just seemed like, you know, a person that does drugs, right? A drug addict, the first time they get high, every time after that, they just chasing a high because they're trying to find that first high, what they felt that first time, that it felt so good, right? So I felt like I'm just constantly looking for love in the wrong places. I'm constantly trying to fill a void, and it's non-existent. You know what I'm saying? I'll never replace my sisters. I'll never fill that void that I got inside of me. You feel me? But it's like I'll still find myself trying to find love and trying to believe in somebody. So that's really where it came from. It's like I'm just looking for love in all the wrong places, you know, chasing a feeling that I am never gonna be able to really have. So I put out, it's 19 tracks, and I only had one feature on there, which was Tafia. But you know, I got the song of my sisters in there, I got Florida in there, I got It's About Me, and you know, when you listen to it, I got even a police recording. I had ran over this dude. It, you know, I was it was a situation that went wrong. They tried to rob me, and I ended up running over him. It was kind of, you know, an accident, like, cause I was just trying to get away. But I got the police audio because I ended up going to jail, and the attorney had to get the deposition. So, you know, we getting police calls and all that shit. So I had it in my computer, and I put the audio on the album, you know, from when the lady called me. Yeah, a lady, she just ran over a man. Did you just run over him? I don't know. I gotta get out of here. So and then follows the song. I made a song about it called Hit and Run, but I made it about relationships, you know, like I don't want to get too close, you know, I'll hit and I'll just be, I don't want to get too close to you because I ain't gonna let you break my heart. But,
right.
You know, it was subliminal to what happened. You know, try to rob me, tell me how that bumper tastes. So the album, you know, was really me just expressing like experiences and traumas and shit I had been through. You know, there's a few love songs in there. I am a hopeless romantic.
It's okay, I am too.
Yeah.
I'm very hopeless. At this point, I'm just like, man, whatever. Like,
that's how I feel. I'm just like, man, I don't even be expecting that it's gonna go nowhere no more. I'm just like,
yeah.
I will hang out. I'm down to be a friend. Like,
yeah, exactly. Now, with Chasing a High, what was it that you wanted your fans to grasp from that project?
I really wanted, you know, people to hear my story. You know, if they don't already know my story, I wanted them to hear it. And if they did know my story, I wanted them to feel it. And I think in a lot of the music, especially like Trials, you know, like you could feel it. Like you could feel the pain, you could feel the hurt. So I wanted people, you know, to start getting a piece of that story, because a lot of people know me as a face. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people know me, you know, maybe through social media. People don't know that, like, I've been outside before social media. Like people knew who I was before I was on the internet. You know, with these stories and life experiences. So like with that project, first I wanted them to respect me, like, okay, nah, she ain't just gonna drop one here in another 6 months. Like, I'm in your chest. It's 19 tracks. Like, I do this shit. I'm independent. Like, I paid for all this shit by myself.
Right.
So I wanted them to, you know, respect me, see that, like, I'm really out here working, I'm putting in work, and to, you know, hear my story and, you know, start to get to know me more and feel things.
Right. And as you continue to pursue your journey in this artistry world, this industry, what would you say are some goals for you this year?
So this year, well, this year, I already claimed it, so it's mine. But this year, you know, I'm gonna find me a good man. I'm gonna get into a serious relationship with a good one, you know, and I know he's gonna be a good one. I'm also gonna put out another project. I'm gonna get a few more big features. I can't even really put a cap on how much I'm gonna drop, because I know it's just gonna be back to back.
Right, yeah.
We're not even in February, and I already got 3 good features.
Just dropped the visual.
Yes, so like, oh yeah, me and Double N just put out that
Yes.
song, and that song going crazy right now. We was top 20 South Carolina, blogs picking it up like on their own, you know. So that song is very hard. It's a mainstream song too. Like, I truly believed in the song, and he's a dope artist. So yeah, this year it's up, it's stuck. You know, I'm gonna do things that people are not gonna expect me to go. So, and
Right.
I know this is my year, like, for sure.
And before we wrap up, do you have any last words or shout outs?
Well, my name's Jasmin Cadavid. If you follow me, not follow me already, please do. On all platforms, it's at Jasmin Cadavid, JasminCadavid. For all your CBD, CBG, Delta 8 rolling paper needs, go on the site. It can get ordered straight to your house. It's www.jasminCadavid.com. thejazzycbd.com. That's THEJAZZY CBD.com. And on all platforms, Amazon, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. Go check out my music, stream everything. Chasing a High is out right now. We got Double N Choosing featuring me out, and just keep a lookout for me.
Is it cause I pull up in the air? You see all these VVs, I'm on TV watching stare.